They've done it, Kyle. They have finally done it. They have achieved the impossible with this episode, Kyle. They have made me look at the Disney trilogy with fondness.
I mean, you're standing alone. I still hate that, but that's good for you, I suppose. This episode is truly, I think it's the worst Star Wars media I've ever seen in my entire life, to be honest with you.
It is. Like, this... The Star Wars Christmas special does not live up to this.
Yeah, I think we have a new contender. Episode 3. Episode 3 is... It's beyond words. There's very little I can say beyond that. It is the most... I think it's the worst television I've ever seen in my life.
It is. Ever. It is terrible. And again, it... Genuinely, like, this is Disney's long-term strategy here, to produce such utter garbage that their trilogy will be remembered like the prequels at some point, after having buried the Star Wars name in such a quantity of liquid fecal matter. You'll be looking back at Rey and going, do you remember when Star Wars had character development? That's their plan, Kyle, and it will succeed.
It certainly is, I mean, that's a theory, I guess. I don't think that's, I think they're just trying to milk it at this point. You remember when they said, Disney admitted that, yes, there is Star Wars fatigue. That was after the second episode of the new trilogy.
Of course, okay? Of course.
They've only increased the amount of shows because they don't care about the IP. We already know this. And they're attempting to milk it while it's still turning a profit.
Which is
I don't even know if
my theory is the only correct theory. This is a ploy, a plan, a strategy.
For money, yes.
And God, this is
They're milking hard.
Thoroughly bad too, to the point that Disney Star Wars has now had to go to the hide behind the black person strategy, where they put out a tweet, we are proud to welcome Moses Ingram. She's been receiving racist messages. Oh my God, this is the worst. Racist. No. People don't dislike Moses Ingram's character because they dislike black people. They dislike her because she's genuinely awful. She is a terrible character. And in this, oh God, she is a walking plot hole. Okay, so there's a tunnel, right? Leia is fleeing through a tunnel with a rebel pilot, resistance liaison, whatever the hell, right? It's a long tunnel. There's only one entrance. There is only one exit. We are not shown anything else. Leia has been running down this tunnel for 10 minutes. Reva enters the tunnel afterwards, then gets ahead of Leia, kills the rebel contact at the other end of the tunnel, and then waits for Leia to get to her.
Yep. It was, there's not much more to say than this episode is a series of contrivances, one after the other. Like, even before this scene, Leia and Obi Wan are wandering around in some generic Arizona area, and all of a sudden they're like, we're lost, and Leia's like, I'm gonna go. Obi Wan's being, useless because Leia's the only character that can do anything. She goes up to a random truck driver and's like, hello, can we get a ride? And these are our names and stuff, and I'm gonna do all the talking, and Obi Wan sits there dumbfounded because he's too stupid to do anything. Obi Wan's character has been completely destroyed, upended, and assassinated in this show. Completely. Like, Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, this episode, the bad one, the one before was bad. This one obliterates the meaning of the ending of Revenge of the Sith and the beginning of A New Hope.
Obi-Wan is receiving the Luke Skywalker treatment. That's what's happening.
Yep. They're like, we haven't ruined this character yet. Let's get started.
Obi-Wan gets confronted by Darth Vader, who beats him up handily. Obi-Wan doesn't even put up a fight. He's completely useless. He gets ambushed by Vader at like 2 separate occasions, despite being able to sense him from like 20 meters away initially, just because reasons. Yep. Vader force grabs him, Obi-Wan can do nothing, and Obi-Wan has to be saved by the nameless resistance contact.
Yep, but the fighting choreography itself is painful. Like their encounter is Obi-Wan's wandering around, and he can't even put up a fight, which is, you know, to be expected in this show. But on top of that, the way they portray it, the way they have Obi-Wan like do it, it's like Obi-Wan's a guy who beat him, right? He beat him in the Battle of Heroes during the Battle of Mustafar. And he can't even muster the strength to fight him, let alone be able to resist him. Like, Anakin uses the Force on him, no problem, and just drags him through the fire, just like Arch said. It's pain. It was the most painful scene to watch, and the best part is it's two old men walking around in a gravel pit.
Yep, there's no interest in it, there's no weight or gravitas, because it is just a canon annihilating scene. Like, this is the multiverse. Again, that god-awful, terrible-ass concept. The Grand Inquisitor is killed in the first episode by Reva, who then explains about, oh, Obi-Wan killed him. Obi-Wan did. Like, really? The Grand Inquisitor was killed without even drawing his weapon. Stabbed through the stomach, was he, by a lightsaber. Okay, everybody buys it. It's just... God.
It is painful. This entire episode, it is hard to muster, like, how much misery this episode has brought us.
And ignore all of the story contrivances. Like, ignore the damage this does to the canon. Ignore the fact that Obi-Wan is getting the Luke Skywalker treatment. Let's just go over all of the ridiculous plot holes, shall we? So, Obi-Wan is a lover of droids now, so he fixes up Lola, Leia's little retarded toy droid, which is already on sale, by the way, which is the only reason why that thing goddamn exists. So he's a friend to all droids now. That's Obi-Wan's persona now. The freighter, the automated, slow-ass freighter that they got on in the first episode, is not intercepted. There is a massive Imperial presence on this planet. The city is filled with stormtroopers. Nobody bothers. They have the manifest. Reva has the goddamn manifest of the automated freighter. In other words, it only goes one place. Doesn't know where he is. Needs to send out probes to find him. It's just, it is so dumb. And of course, as you mentioned too, Obi-Wan is helpless. He walks through the desert, moping his face off with Leia's like, hey, I'll have to take care of us, because you're an old stupid man. Hey, we can catch a ride with this random farm person here. The farmer, too, turns out to be the bad guy. He's like, hey, I brought them to you to the checkpoint. The problem here is, he already encountered another random 5 stormtroopers wandering through the desert for no particular reason. If he wanted to betray them, he could have just told them. He could have like, hey, Frank, hey, I've got these suspicious dudes here. No, he waited till he got to the checkpoint for some reason, because plot contrivance, I guess.
Gotta wait till they get to the actual destination so that they can have the other thing conveniently happen. Oh, that scene.
It's even worse than that. Because, okay, so there's the resistance content, right? Obi-Wan kills, like, 5 or 6 stormtroopers handily, easily, no issues, no effort, because he's a goddamn Jedi using a blaster against stormtroopers. It's not even a challenge. Then a car drives up with 3 stormtroopers in it, and Obi-Wan's like, oh my god, well, I'm screwed, lays down his weapon and surrenders.
Yep. That was painful, because it's after he just slaughters these stormtroopers, right? With a blaster. Which, by the way, I'm having a hard time, like, yeah, I get it, using the blaster to conceal the fact that he's a Jedi, but it's fucking Obi-Wan. He's so uncivilized, he throws the blaster away. It's like they're doing it intentionally to just completely ruin the scene, where he's like, he just hates blasters, he hates droids, he repairs droids, like he does he breaks everything that makes him his character. The fact that he didn't give up in the end of Revenge of the Sith, he was, you know, beaten but not defeated. Now he's just defeated and beaten.
Yep. And why does he surrender? Because, the entire scene... It's because the officer, who is randomly traveling around with 3 dumbass stormtroopers, a senior lieutenant, then pulls out her pistol and shoots the stormtroopers. because the plot demanded it. That's why Obi-Wan surrendered, because the goddamn plot demanded it. And then she's like, oh hey, I'm your resistance contact. I was supposed to meet you at the coordinate. They were the correct coordinates, by the way, but you were already gone by the time I got there. That was the point. Way behind Obi-Wan. Now, they've been driving on a vehicle for God only knows how long. So this chick got to that point, doubled back, got in front of Obi-Wan to do this retarded plot contrivance scene. They cannot stop ruining their own plot. And. So,
oh no.
Obi-Wan's sitting in the back. He takes up his hoodie to make him extra suspicious, and he's ordered off the thing. Right? He's even being interrogated on the truck by the stormtroopers, who are like, we're looking for a Jedi. Have you seen anything? And he's like, no. And they're like, well, that's a bit suspicious. Like, oh, if only we knew what this Jedi looked like. Because you remember the picture? They had a hologram of his face the last episode. I guess Reva just forgot to send that to everybody else.
And they don't need to know what he looks like, nor the fact that it's the legendary Obi Wan Kenobi, who's not a famous hero of the Republic era during the Clone Wars or anything. No. It's like nobody even recognizes him. It'd be like the equivalent of, like, you know, a famous hero just shows up and you're from some great war and you're like, holy shit, it's, you know, friggin' Alexander the Great, you know, right next to you on the card, but you can't tell the difference.
Yeah. And it's because she didn't send the picture, so a droid has to show up and be like, beep boop, oh hey, I have the picture, this is the Jedi. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it so very much.
It's not even the worst part either, because another annoying thing, they get to their hideout, right? And it's like, oh yeah, we've been helping Jedi come through here, the Underground Railway the whole time. Turns out there's so many Jedi you wouldn't believe. Billions of them, trillions. Nobody really got killed during Order 66. There's so many Jedi, it's not even funny anymore.
Yep.
The amount of people that survive Order 66 has only increased as time has gone on, as they just keep adding more people that survived. I'm at the point now where I'm starting to ask, like, who actually died? Like, all the head honchos died, but really they just missed everybody.
There were a lot of Jedis, okay. And
Palpatine's Order 66 was apparently not as successful as it was supposed to be. Huh.
This is a high-ranking Imperial official here also helping them. She is a senior lieutenant with 2 high-clearance capsules. Like, she's nobody, okay? Nobody suspects her. She just keeps going in and out of this random junkyard repair shop. Jedis keep disappearing from the goddamn planet. Oh, yeah. And
under her watch, we haven't caught any Jedi.
and of course, right, they're about to escape. They're about to head on out there to meet the pilot and escape the planet, when Obi-Wan, halfway down the tunnel, goes, I sense a disturbance in the Force, goes all the way back to see Anakin, and then decides, I should stick around for a while.
Oh god, that's right. There was that painful scene where Vader starts killing random people to try to torment Obi-Wan. But the thing is, Obi-Wan, by going back, you've only made him do that.
Yeah, because Obi-Wan senses Vader long before Vader senses him, which is retarded enough, because, okay, if we accept that Obi-Wan has been using his powers for 10 years and he's super rusty, etc., that's why he got his ass kicked, fair enough. How the hell is he capable
masking his presence?
Yeah, how is he picking up Vader long before Vader is picking him up? And you see the moment when Vader finally senses him and starts killing random innocents for shits and giggles to torment Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan just stands there like, maybe I should leave.
He stands there like, Obi-Wan's a broken man in this show. Broken, defeated. It's not the Obi-Wan remember from Revenge of the Sith at the end, where he's, you know, beaten because of what happened to Anakin, that they had to put him down, basically. But he's defeated. Like, he's so defeated. He watches them torture innocent and kill innocent people. And the Obi-Wan that we all know, Obi Wan Kenobi, would never have allowed that to happen. He would have already been gone before that even happened, so that would have never happened in the first place. He would have been out, in and out. But this is the problem. This show has visceral scenes, right? There's a stormtrooper that falls from the tower when they're at the outpost that gets sheared in half. There's lots of gratuitous violence, like Anakin killing children. Well, a younger adult, I guess, not a child. But the show treats the audience like children. Like when it comes to the actual story. Especially with the Leia character. Oh my god. She is so insufferable. Like, they're trying to pull this whole, like, oh, you know, black people, we gotta hide behind black people thing kind of thing with the corporation thing. But honestly, the worst character, more than Reva, is Leia. God, she is the most insufferable character. Not the child's fault, bear that in mind, but the actual character they make her play. I cannot stand her. Any time she's on the screen, it's pain to watch.
She's terrible. And the way she is throughout the whole thing, too. Like, on the one hand, she's the one guiding Obi-Wan by the hand, quite literally. And then suddenly she's like, oh my god, I'm scared now. What are we here? I must go home. I didn't mean to run away. 5 seconds later, she's the same brave character again. Like, you need to go after Obi-Wan and save him. I'll make it to the shuttle myself.
Yeah, they're like, oh, let's let the child go by herself. Like, what the fuck? That's not Obi Wan Kenobi. Abandons the child to fend for the child's self. Well, then the other adult abandons the child to fend for herself again. Like, what the fuck? Everyone just doesn't care in this universe. Like, things are so contrived.
It's demanded by the plot. And the idiocy is, again, like I mentioned, this is a tunnel. It seems to be going one way only. It's a simple goddamn tunnel. And they leave way ahead of Reva. They are down the tunnel. They have been running down the tunnel for God only knows. And the random-ass resistance chick manages to run all the way back down the tunnel again, not running into Reva on the way, leaving the tunnel undetected, getting to the slag pit place to save Obi-Wan, and Reva still makes it out ahead of the child so she can wait for her dramatically at the end. I hate everything about it. It is so unbelievably contrived. Like, nobody thought about this for 2 seconds. How this story, how this timeline makes no sense.
Yep, none of it lines up. Not a single thing. And the thing is, the other episodes were bad. But this one, like, I feel like it shed all of its pretenses, and it's painfully going through the motions of trying to progress the plot so that it can end. That's what it feels like after watching it. It
actively takes the piss. Like, it violates, it's like, whoever was right, I don't even... It feels like maybe this was written by like 7 people who never talked to each other and had responsibilities for different parts of the plot. Like, one person is like, wouldn't it be cool if Reva was the one who discovered the tunnel and she'd go through it and she'd see like a Jedi symbol and she'd go like, rawr, and toss over some furniture. And then he wrote that in the script. And then another person who wrote in like, oh, but wouldn't it also be cool if Reva was at the end of the tunnel and Leia was there like, are you my pickup? And she's like, no, I'm sorry, little child. I'm death. Wouldn't that be cool too? Let's do both. No.
Are you my pickup? Says Leia to the clearly dressed bad guy standing, you know, over a dead body.
The Inquisitor dressed in black clothing standing over the killed rebel pilot. Are you my friend? No. No.
Oh, the show. It's so painful.
And we've got to talk about Vader as well. So Vader eventually corners Obi-Wan, does his force power shit, which Obi-Wan can't resist at this point, and sets some shit on fire and starts dragging him through the flames. Which, fair enough, I can see that happening. Anakin's a bit of a petulant turd at this point, right?
Yep, bit angry.
Yeah, a little bit of a petulant bastard, fair enough. Then he decides, like, well, this is too easy, I guess. Puts out the fire and sends a stormtrooper to fetch him, conveniently. Rebel pilot woman thing then shows up, shoots the stormtrooper, sets the stuff on fire again, because you see, this mystical fuel, it can be put out and relighted however many times you want to create a convenient fire barrier. After which a droid walks out, doesn't get hit by like 24 stormtroopers shooting at it from 5 feet away, which, you know, lower accurate. And Vader, who could just put the fire out again if he so chose, or jump over it, or walk through it in his goddamn armor, or any billion other things to get Obi-Wan, who is 5 feet away, just goes like, and leaves.
He just stands there, stares as they escape, like, doesn't do a thing in character, and then he's like, turns around and he just walks away. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, I guess I could do something, but screw it. I'm leaving.
Not only did they ruin the encounter in A New Hope so badly by this scene, but they also, like, replaced it with a scene that is so incredibly painful to watch that, honestly, I have no doubt in my mind, people are going to forget this show ever existed.
I damn well hope so. And the scene is shot in such a way as to suggest that he's somehow afraid of the flames, and I'm like, I don't care. He's Darth Vader. He can go around the flames if he wants to. There's plenty of space. He's a Sith Lord. He can jump over the flames if he wants to. Hell, he can dig under it for all I goddamn care. But this is Obi-Wan, 5 feet in front of him. Like, you can't
and he's
just
laying on the
have
ground
him
and
give up.
See, he doesn't even need to go to Obi-Wan. He could because oh my goodness. So when he fights Obi-Wan, he uses the Force. We mentioned this before, and he grabs Obi-Wan and lifts him up. Well, the thing is why Jedi and Sith don't really do that too often is because, well, generally the other opponent can, you know, block him out from doing that. Otherwise, they just Force choke each other to death or Force neck snap each other all the time, you know? But in this case, Obi-Wan's like, I can't even defend myself, and he gets grabbed by the Force. So he's laying on the ground, incapacitated for fighting, not able to fight anymore. All he would have to do is reach through the Force and just snap his neck, or just drag him through the fire back to his side. And the droid couldn't do anything about it. The droid doesn't have the Force. He could just drag the droid too.
It is like every scene in this bloody show feels like it is purpose made to just piss on everything. It is like bad is just not the term anymore. It's not applicable. This is so much worse than bad. Like, it makes an active mockery of itself every step of the way. They're not even trying at this point.
Yep. It's sadly very true. Like, the Halo show we watched not that long ago was bad, but this has surpassed anything I've ever seen in terms of how awful this is, and that is quite a statement, because I've seen some bad crap. This is awful. This show is pain.
Unironically, this is one of the worst pieces of entertainment I've ever watched. Like, just the constant plot holes, the constant annoyances, another thing I want to point out as well, okay? When they arrive at the secret Derpy Derp hideout, it's bright day outside. When they leave it shortly thereafter and Vader arrives, it's the middle of the night.
Yeah, time is progressing at weird intervals, and you don't really understand when and how, because they just keep jumping around all the time. Like, the story's jumping all over the place, and is not, like, taking its time. It feels like it's, like I said earlier, it feels like it's just trying to get it over with. Like, it doesn't even want to be a show. It's like, just end. It's like it's playing itself and fast forward while you watch it.
Written by a bunch of people who were like, hey, do you want to do a Star Wars show? No, Star Wars is for nerds and shit, but yeah, it pays really well though. Fine.
Fine, we'll do it, but we're gonna, like, get to the end of the plot as quickly as possible, because I wanna go do something else. That is what it feels like.
Okay, we'll do it, but we'll hate every minute of it. Yeah, I'm seeing that.
And you can feel the hate for it. The thing is, they got Hayden Christensen in this scene, and they do nothing with him. Nothing with him. They, like, Ewan McGregor's here, but, like, his acting can't save this travesty. Like, it doesn't matter. It's not even worth watching for his acting. Earlier I was like, maybe it'll be worth watching just to see him act and some of these actors act again. It isn't. It isn't, because the cinematography is bad. The choreography is awful. The music, I don't even want to talk about it. It's so painfully generic, it's not worth discussing. And it's a friggin' Star Wars show. Like, friggin' Star Wars. Like, every Star Wars video game media always takes advantage of John Williams' music. It is a sin to not even use a single iota of that. It's generic. It's bad. And everything about it feels cheap and reeks of just awfulness. The acting, the writing, the dialogue, the sets, everything.
And even, you talk about Ewan McGregor, right? And he's a good actor. Sure, nobody's disagreeing about this, but he has no purpose in this show. He really, really doesn't. Like, his only actions is looking at Leia confused, as Leia does something a 10-year-old child would never do, and he looking sad. Like, that is his sole expression in this entire show. Just looking downtrodden like a beaten dog. As they murder his character in front of him.
It's honestly tragic to see. And I kind of wish it would just stop.
And I feel like also what they're building up to here, what they're going to try and do, because now they've humiliated him, they've had his shit kicked with no issues, they're going to be in the last episode going like, oh, he's found himself now, he's found a purpose, and that purpose was Leia, or something stupid like that. And
Luke had nothing to do with it.
Yep. And he'll be able to somehow beat up Vader again, and then the camera will zoom in on his face and have a little bit of a wink in his eyes, and then the show will end. And he'll be expected to go like, wow, that's how he became the powerful person or something.
Yeah, despite the fact that everything else before makes no sense. The fact that Vader had fought Obi-Wan before, after the Mustafar thing, was always a terrible idea. They had multiple encounters to the point where it was almost laughable. They were like, "Hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while." You know, they'd have weekly catch-ups. Like, how you been? You know, what's different at work? Like, Christ's sake. Oh.
On the bright side,
should mean something.
Halo is no longer the worst TV show I've watched.
Yep. I can't believe it. But literally in the same year, the record was smashed.
Congratulations, Disney. You have you have truly outperformed yourself with this one.
You've beaten Paramount Plus as worst show of the year. In fact, worst show of my life, actually.
Now all I want to do is watch more Star Trek.
That is something awkward, okay? I need to mention that. Arch is like, before he even started watching the show, he's like, I'd rather watch Star Trek. He just doesn't want to be here. Oh. And honestly, I don't even blame him. This is pain. This is actually an endurance test.
Straight up, one of the worst pieces of television I've ever seen.